Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Striking Rescue, a Chinese action flick from 2024 that stars Tony Jaa, who has had a hit-and-miss career during the last decade or so. I enjoyed SPL 2, Paradox, Master Z, and even Triple Threat and Triple X The Return of Xander Cage. So I'm not asking for masterpieces, folks. Just give me something entertaining. Unfortunately, Jaa has been in a rut since 2020 with stuff like Monster Hunter, Jiu-Jitsu, and Expendables 4. So is Striking Rescue an improvement on those turds, or is Jaa still on a losing streak? Well, let's find out. The following plot synopsis was paraphrased from the website bulletproofaction.com. The movie begins with a training montage as Bai-an, played by Tony Jaa, practices his strikes, landing elbows and knees and throwing punches until his fists bleed. Bai-an is also reliving the horrific incident that took his wife and young daughter from him. Then we go right into Bai-an's quest for revenge, a quest that has him confront the man who pulled the trigger, a known criminal and man about town named Kang, who drops the name of a prominent businessman, Ying Hao, and this man's little daughter becomes entangled in the conflict. So to no one's surprise, the story here is not that great. The opening training scene and quick flashbacks are very cliche, which is expected given the generic plot synopsis. The dialogue can get pretty bad at times in this, similar to many B-grade actioners, but there are a few pretty good conversations with the little girl, I would say. There's some pretty good stuff in this. The businessman, who is Jaa's target for revenge, also seems like a good guy. So you wonder if he's just manipulating the people around him and he's directly involved in these criminal activities, or if some of his employees are doing the shady stuff behind his back and using his company against him. So I did kind of like that angle as well. There's a little bit of intrigue, but it's not that much. For Striking Rescue, Tony Jaa is channeling his earlier, more intense, yet one-dimensional performances. He was never really that likable in his earlier films, in my opinion. Surprisingly, I've actually enjoyed his more personable and even comedic acting efforts instead, from like the last 10 to 15 years. I like it when he has some personality and levity with his character. I just prefer it. But we do not really get much of that in Striking Rescue. He's more of a one-dimensional character again, but he does have screen presence. Now, in terms of action, we get an early fight in a warehouse area. The choreography is not that creative. Virtually all of these moves we've seen before in other Tony Jaa movies, but the impact of Muay Thai is still present. It's brief, but a decently entertaining scene, that opening scene. There's a shootout and fight in a forest between two rival groups, one of which is attempting to kidnap the little girl. It looks strange, like there's a weird artificiality to some of the background shots when they're shooting from inside the car, almost as if they didn't actually drive a car down the road. They just used a green screen or something, like a cheap green screen effect. It did not look good, very distracting. Outside of that, it was a decent scene that's longer than the opening. Nothing too memorable, though. The next sequence is Tony Jaa on a motorcycle inside of a building, fighting off a bunch of dudes while protecting the little girl. It has a few pretty good moments to it, but overall it's simply pretty good again. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, this would be like a classic one versus many scene, in his career, but, and this is just pretty good, a little bit disappointing. But it does end with a one-on-one duel. So the end of this fight transitions to a one-on-one duel that's entertaining. And the camera work and choreography could have been a little bit tighter and better, but it's a good fight. So the action just is starting to tick up and improve a little bit right around the midpoint. And then it just continually improves, I think. The next fight is better. Tony fights off a bunch of dudes in a hallway. Weapon of choice here is a machete. Some good hard-hitting strikes in that one. Best scene in the movie so far up to that point. And then we get the finale, which incorporates some gunplay and multiple solid one-on-one fights. And the main bad guy is like tough to take down. He can take a lot of damage. So in a nutshell, I would say that some of the action set pieces in Striking Rescue, they lack a little bit of energy and excitement to them. They feel a little bit flat. So the viewer will not have significant reactions to some of these fights like we did in Ong Bak or Tom Yum Goong, right? But at the same time, the action does get better during the second half, and it's good, even though it fails to reach the heights of Jaa's career. So, and the pacing in this is pretty good. There's not a lot of downtime in this movie, which really, I think, helps make it a watchable movie. But there are many better action flicks out there that you should watch first. But if you have a lazy evening and you want to catch up with Tony Jaa's recent stuff, this is decent enough. It's a watchable action flick, in my opinion. And it's currently available streaming on Amazon. So this is like a light recommendation for you. And as always, folks, I'll see you next time.